Hey students, this is lesson 134. We're going to learn how to write the equation of a line if we're given just a little bit of information, like if we're given the slope and 1 point on the line, or if we're given 2 points on the line. So just the fact that we know that these relationships are linear gives us a whole lot more information. So let's look at this first table here. It says, what is the equation of a line described by the table? Explain how you found the equation. So right away, I'm looking at this table, and I want to look at the constant differences in this table. Now, I know that x goes up by 1. So I know that my coefficient of my equation is what the outputs go up by when the inputs go up by 1. So I just want to look at that. The difference between the output values is always plus 2. So I know that part of my equation is going to look like that, because my coefficient is 2. The increase in the output values when the input values go up by 1. So, and the other bit of information I need is, I need to know what is the output value when the input value is 0. And that is right here, 1. And it's known as the y-intercept. And I can just add that on, and then that's my equation. And I can just check it real quick. With one of these sets of values, if I say take this value here as my x, so if I do 2 times 3 plus 1, that's 6 plus 1, which is 6 plus 1 is 7, my y value. So that works. Okay. Now, and a few other things about that. If you were to take any 2 points from that relationship, like these two, and use those in the slope formula, remember the slope formula, you just subtract the y values and subtract the x values, and that gives you the slope. So if I subtract the y values, the 7 and 5, and then I subtract the x values, the 3 and 2, I get 2 divided by 1, which is 2, which is this value. So if I just have 2 points, I can find that coefficient. And if I graph this equation, I'll do that real quick here. So here's a graph, and if I graph that equation or those values, I get points like right there, and then my slope is 2, so they constantly go up by 2. And if I connect those with a line, it looks like that. And notice that the place where I cross the y-axis is the same as that value right there. The constant term in the equation is the same as the place where we cross the y-axis. All right? So, all right, let's look at a situation like this. This is, what is the equation of a line that has a slope of 4 and passes through the point 1, 5? So, do we have enough information there to write an equation? Well, right away, since the slope is 4, we know that this part right here is the slope. And so we know that much of the equation. We know that y is equal to 4 times x in this situation. And we know we have to add something onto that, or we might have to. And one way we can figure out what we need to add is, when I'm given a point, I'm given an x and a y value. And x is 1 and y is 5. So if I take 4 times 1, the x value, substituting 1 for x, plus my missing number in my equation, I should get the y value, which is 5. And just simplifying that a little, 4 times 1 is 4. So 4 plus what equals 5? And obviously that's 1. So that means that my constant term in my equation is 1. And that's how you can find the equation. Y equals 4x plus 1. Now, one other way to look at that also is, so I know I have the 0.15 on this, because that's given to me. And if I look at a table, and if I know my slope is 4, I can generate more values in my table because I know that the slope is represented by the constant change in the output values when the input increases by 1. So if I add 4 to 5, I get 9. If I work backwards, I would just subtract 4. And so right here, my output value when my input is 0, that's the constant term in the equation. All right, so what if I have a situation where I'm given 2 points and I want to write the equation. And I know that it's obviously there's one line that goes through 2 points. So let's say I have 2 points like 2, 5 and 5, 11. Okay, so right away, I know that there's one line that goes through those 2 points. And through any 2 points, I can find the slope just by using this formula. So I'm going to subtract my y-coordinates, which are 11 and 5. That's this 11 and this 5. And then I'm going to subtract my y-coordinates, or my x-coordinates, the 5 and the 2. And those are my rise, that's my rise and my run, and that equals 6 divided by 3, which is 2. So I now know my slope is 2, so I have this much of the equation, 2x. Now I'm missing something else there, still. I'm missing the constant term, but I can just choose one of these values, like say 5 and 11. Remember that the 5 is x and the 11 is y. And if I take 2 times 5 plus my constant term, it has to equal 11, the y value. And 2 times 5 is 10, plus something has to equal 11. Obviously, that's 1. So my 1 is my constant term, and I now have my equation y equals 2x plus 1. The only other thing you're going to want to do is check that. So use this for x and this for y and just make sure it works. So y equals 2x plus 1. Substitute 2 for the x value. Add 1 and it should equal the y value, 5. And indeed 4 plus 1 is 5. So that's how you can find the equation if you're given 2 points and you want to know the equation of the line that goes through them. All right, I think that's enough for now, and we'll work on the rest in class the next time I see you. See you later.